But you know what? Here, I will put up 10K though. We're both throwing on 10K. Winner, whoever wins, not just one game, but whoever wins overall, it's 10 grand. I'll match it.
I have plenty of pieces. I'm just joshing around, just having fun.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! Trying to not still.
Oh, now I'm actually worried if I Stalemate.
Chess is a lot harder than I thought it was, and yeah.
Mr. Beast entered the chess scene with a bang, making chess headlines first for stalemating Hikaru in an odds game versus only a king and a queen, and then again for betting $10,000 on his tournament debut versus Ludwig in true Mr. Beast fashion, thus creating a new rivalry. Little did he know that the excitement from his bet wouldn't nearly match the tension he creates for the audience with his endgames. Mr. Beast lives life in the fast lane, never taking a break from managing one of the largest channels on YouTube and filling in for the United States healthcare system. He packs enough energy into the first 10 seconds of his videos to power the chess.com servers for a whole day. This carries over to his chess, with Mr. Beast preferring to play bullet games instead of other slower time formats, allowing him to squeeze a game into his busy schedule now and then. Bullet is a great way to practice openings and endgames by focusing on sheer volume instead of game quality, but at Mr. Beast's trading, Bullet is often just one early checkmate attempt followed by moving pieces as quickly as possible until someone runs out of time. This meant that despite having more than 1,000 games under his belt, when it came to learning slower time formats, he had to get back to fundamentals and learn how to move when his opponent has time to react. Mr. Beast's tournament play is a wild ride, only instead of a giant stadium and pile of cash at the end, it's a series of stalemates that would impress even Eric Rosen. Jimmy will capitalize on his opponent's mistakes and build up a huge advantage, only to throw it all away through his fear of attacking the king. He will bring more and more pieces to the attack without placing the king in check until the king has nowhere left to go and the game ends in stalemate. We'll start today's game analysis with one of his more recent bullet games to show off his strengths, then continue with the segment from the PogChamps 4 finals to see how he holds up in a slower time format. Mr. Beast responds to e4 with d5, the Scandinavian. After he takes d5, instead of recapturing with the queen, he goes for a gambit with c6. This immediately pays off because instead of taking the pawn, his opponent tries to defend his own with bishop c4, allowing Mr. Beast to recapture the pawn and attack the bishop. After the bishop retreats, Jimmy gains more control of the center with e5, then he attacks the knight that his opponent develops to c3. Mr. Beast attacks the knight again after it moves by developing the bishop to f5. Here he has shown his bullet skills by gaining strong control over the center and creating threats, while using less than 1 second per move. Now he plays bishop b4 check, a solid move as his opponent might be tempted to block with pawn and risk losing the rook due to the support of the d4 pawn. His opponent sees this and blocks with bishop, allowing the exchange on d2. Jimmy then develops his knight to f6 and his opponent tries to pressure his bishop with g4. Here Mr. Beast again demonstrates his skill. Seeing that he has 2 attackers on the e4 knight, he captures first with knight takes e4, threatening the queen, forcing his opponent to take the knight with pawn, and then recaptures with bishop, winning a pawn and threatening the newly exposed rook on h1. His opponent tries to trade bishops with bishop d3, but Jimmy is not fooled and captures the unprotected rook. Now his opponent is panicking, behind on material and on time, so they try to develop their knight to f3, again right in the line of Mr. Beast's bishop, so he captures another piece. Desperate to make something happen, his opponent opens up the center with d3 and Mr. Beast happily trades pawns, being in the driver's seat with his material advantage. He then castles to get his king out of any danger and prepares to storm the white king via the center. His opponent captures the e4 pawn with queen, and Jimmy misses an opportunity to win the queen by pinning it to the king with rook e8, instead opting to pressure it with knight c6. His opponent goes for one last checkmate attempt and Jimmy finds the great move rook e8 check, attacking the king and allowing his own king room to escape. Now he is free to move his bishop out of the line of attack and the king easily escapes the attack of the bishop and the queen. After the queen scoops up a few pawns, Mr. Beast resumes his attack with rook g8, and after moving the queen, his opponent loses on time, while Jimmy still has over 20 seconds left on the clock. Mr. Beast demonstrated great play for his level in this game, going for some serious attacks and protecting his own king when needed. He played with over 90% accuracy while managing his time very well in the bullet game. However, one key feature to note with this game is that finding checkmate was not required, since it ended on time. As is the case with most low-rated bullet games that don't end early, you rarely get to practice your endgames. Now we'll go over part of his game versus Rubius in the PogChamps 4 finals in the much slower 10+5 format to see where he struggles. In this position, Mr. Beast has checkmate in 3 if he can see a tricky bishop sacrifice to open up his queen for the attack. However, far more simple moves like rook takes e8 and queen takes h3 check will also lead to checkmate. Let's just see how many moves it takes Jimmy. Mr. Beast decides to go the rook takes e8 route, and Rubius immediately blunders his queen. Now after Jimmy takes the queen, he brings his pawn into the attack, allowing a potential mate in 1 by accident if he attempts to promote it. However, afraid of attacking the king, he starts to go after all of Rubius's pawns, which is the opposite of what you should do if you're afraid of stalemate. Afterwards, Jimmy starts advancing his own pawns towards promotion. Not a bad idea if you're having trouble finding checkmate with your existing pieces, but you need to make sure the enemy king still has space to move. Now after promoting and taking the rook, Mr. Beast has a constant mate in 1 with queen d1 checkmate. But instead he keeps advancing his pawn while the increment allows Rubius to keep shuffling his king with no risk of losing on time. After a bit more shuffling, he takes Rubius's final pawn on f2 and Rubius is forced to take the queen. Then Mr. Beast finally closes out the game with rook e2 check followed by promoting a queen for checkmate. Just kidding, he promotes the queen first, removing all remaining squares for the king to move, and ending the game with stalemate yet again. Mr. Beast shows solid potential with his chess instincts, going on to win the consolation bracket and $7,000, almost paying back his losses to Ludwig. However, his time constraints mean that he doesn't have time to properly practice. His instincts can get him far in bullet, but they can't close out games where his opponent can't lose on time. Maybe he can compensate for this in future with an I Made 100 Streamers Battle in Bullet video on his gaming channel. Thanks for watching and subscribe to avoid stalemate.